Hello precious people, how are you? And a huge welcome to episode 7 of Domain TV. So, excuse me, this week we're going to be talking to you about lots of things in this episode. We're going to be talking to you about the Domain event, the first ever in-person Domain event that's going to be happening next summer. And moving forwards, we're going to be hosting events annually. So this is really exciting. So we'll tell you about that in a moment. Then we're going to be talking a little bit about some incredible deepening that's occurring energetically with Salí, who many of you now know as Earth's consciousness, and also Nelson Mandela, who's one of the key non-physical guides for those working with domain and domain energetics. So there's been some awesome stuff that's been happening with them this week in terms of deepening energetically, and I always smile when I talk about these things, because even really recently on a program I'm running, we were talking about transversing myriad, and I was saying, you can transverse multiversally if you'd like to, but if you don't feel comfortable, obviously just stay transversing our universe. And one of the ladies on the program was like, where else would anyone be saying you can just stay in the universe today if you don't want to go to the multiverse? So it's really magical what we get to talk about, what we get to work with here. And we love all of you that are tuning in, whether it's live or on replay, now or in the future, like we always say, who are believing, who are feeling the truth of what we're saying here. And although it's pioneering and groundbreaking, you're understanding the truth, you're starting to work with domain and its energetics and experience what it can do, what it can show us. And it's literally opening up a whole new world. It's opening up our multiverses to us. So it's so exciting. So it's just always so much wonder to talk about on these lives. And then we're also going to today, which I thought would be really lovely, is help those of you that haven't yet come to know this, but those of you who are enjoying exploring domain, or some of you might be working with it way more deeply. But wherever you're at, you may want to connect to a really key domain non-physical guide for you, because you can work with domain on your own as a physical human. Absolutely, of course you can. But I have a passion for non-physical guides that have specialties with domain, because there are certain ones that are here to just help support us in terms of what we want to do with domain. And as our energies evolve and expand, it's kind of actually less that they're guiding us. They're just there as a support. So a bit like we're building our domain community physically here on the ground on Earth, and more people are starting to understand about domain and come together and want to do things with it. There's the whole non-physical side to this as well, where non-physical energies are doing the same and creating with domain as well, and always have done. So they're there for us to access, and this can be really wondrous. And so we thought today to be able to share that with you, so you can maybe receive who one of your key guides for domain might be now or in the future. Or for those of you that are really well practiced with guides and domain, you may well be introduced to a guide that you didn't expect. Who knows? There'll be a bit of magic in it for everybody. And then to kind of complete this episode, we've got our first guest, so our first Domain TV guest. So you're going to get to meet the wonderful Louise Green, who is one of our precious domain leaders. She is also known as the Nature Connector, and she'll be coming live and joining us at around 10:30, so about half an hour in. And we'll be speaking to her about, what domain has opened up for her, what she loves using domain for, what her aspirations and visions are with domain, and that type of thing as well. So it'll be really lovely. So yeah, in about 25 minutes approximately, Louise Green will be jumping on to join us. So it's very exciting, and over time, like we've said, as we're continuing these Domain TV episodes, we're hoping to get more souls from the domain community coming on and speaking about just what they're using domain for, their experience of it, why they love it, the possibilities that they're uncovering with it, so that we can all keep sharing and moving forwards together, because that is what domain is all about, togetherness. Hi Karishma, darling. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to talk about, as I just said, is the domain event. So this is really exciting, because this is an opportunity For those of us that are reading about domain, exploring domain, working with domain, creating with domain, wherever you're at with domain, even if you're brand new to it, this event is the first opportunity where everybody can kind of come together to physically meet and spend the day together. And it's going to pack a real energetic punch in such a loving way. The domain circle of love will be like lifting the roof off of the building. And it's just going to be beautiful. And so our long-term aspirations with domain, because we're here doing this for the long term, is to do events annually in different locations around the world, and just a really lovely chance for people to celebrate and get together once a year, because it is so much about togetherness. And we know that obviously so much of what we're doing is online to make it as accessible to people as possible, but to have these annual meetups is going to be amazing. So our first event is going to be happening next August, the 6th of August, here in Alfriston, which is where the domain book was written, Our World, What Comes Next, where domain's always been being explored basically from my side here in this location. And because it's in the heart of the South Downs, it's this beautiful, just peaceful, wonderful village that I just love. It's like this hidden kind of secret. This was just the right space to do the event in, because I did kind of ask the domain team, you know, should we do it in London where it's a bit more accessible for people? But if you think about what domain represents, which is peace, beauty, that connection to kind of seeing Salí, we could have done it in London, but actually we were really guided that this is the space to do it in. And that although people might need to travel a little bit further, they can kind of elongate their stay. And so we're going to run the event during the day on the Wednesday, the 6th of August, but then we're going to go out for dinner in the evening for those that want to join. And the next day, meet up and go for a walk somewhere in the South Downs for those of us that want to spend more of that time together and extend that togetherness time together. So it's going to be really, really beautiful. Early bird tickets are on sale now, so the first 20 tickets available are at a lower price. And although the event's in August, it just gives people time to plan if they want to or need to book some time off of work, if they want to book accommodation to extend their stay, because it is such a beautiful part of the world. Obviously, August is far away, but it is, you know, more of a peak travel time. And a lot of people like to come to visit Alfriston because it's so pretty. So it just gives people lots of notice. And if you're coming in groups, you may want to share an Airbnb. Otherwise, we've put hotel recommendations on the website. And once you've bought your ticket into the event, you'll get access to the pre-event area in the School of Domain Energetics. And we'll be sharing more accommodation help and advice there as well, and just getting really excited together. So we know some of you bought your tickets already and have started commenting in that pre-event area, so we will be looking at those later today and just acknowledging you all and telling you a huge welcome. But the event's going to be awesome. The first part of the day is really kind of celebrating where we are, doing a meet and greet where everyone in the room gets to introduce each other, introduce themselves, not in a scary way, just in a lovely, relaxed way, because we're all about togetherness and community. And then we are going to have a second part where we're talking about what's been achieved today and what's kind of coming up. And giving everybody in the room the opportunity to know sort of future plans for the coming year with Domain ahead of everyone else. And then the third part of the event, we'll be sharing some brand new insight and understanding about Domain that's never been shared before. Even I don't know what that is yet. I'll be given that before the event. And we'll just kind of be doing some quick fire Q&As with myself and the Domain team. It's going to be so much fun. We've got the wonderful Beth Turner emceeing, who many of you know, and in the past, when I used to do events in London with my manifesting side of things, Beth used to be there emceeing, and obviously you'll know that her energy is so much fun and just lifts the roof on things as well. We've got some incredible catering from my favourite tea room in Alfriston. I literally go there every week. Like, it is so gorgeous. The owners are just wonderful. And so they're doing the catering for the day. And again, if you look on the website, sarahmorganglobal.com, you'll see the kind of menu that they've put together for us. It's just going to be a day of utter yum and love and connection And everyone that comes will also get huge energetic advancement in relation to their own areas of specialty and specialism and their own passions and wants with domain as well. So there's something in it for everyone. You know, it's open to everyone, whether you're brand new to domain and have literally only just heard the word domain and don't know much more, you're completely welcome. If you're really well versed in domain and have been working with myself through the School of Domain Energetics, of course, you're really welcome. Like, it's just going to be a wonderful, wonderful day. The venue's just really lovely. Again, it's not like massively overstated and over the top. It's just about coming together, down to earthness, lots of lovely food, lots of lovely time, lots of amazing energy and insight and newness, and really a celebration honouring what everyone in the domain community is doing, which is pioneering and groundbreaking and utterly new right now, but in the future it just won't be. It will be vast. So so much to come. So we're really excited about that. So information's on the website. Early bird tickets are on the website for the first 20 if you want to take advantage of that. And any questions, just let us know. So that's the Domain in-person event next year. So that's really exciting. So what else has been going on over the last week? So I myself, and the thing is, when I myself experience things, it flows out to the broader domain community, and in particular, those that are, of course, actively working with domain, have had domain ignited in them through either reading the Domain Energetics book, Our World, What Comes Next, or of course worked with me through the School of Domain Energetics, and of course all of the domain leaders as well. So basically, any time something quite big happens to me, it kind of gets rippled and shared out. And so this week, what's really happened is a real deepening in terms of, I'm actually being guided to talk about this. I don't normally talk about this really publicly, but here we go. And the reason God's asking me to share this is because it's, again, connecting you to magic and possibilities with working with energetics and domain. Because the thing is, when you're working with domain, it can be so unexpected what it shows you, so unexpected what you experience. It's like so wondrous and like so like delicious and so enrapturing and magical that the possibilities are endless. So I've never shared this publicly, but here we go. I've shared it with those that might have worked closely with me, but never in a public way. So here we go. My energy can do this thing where it can meld with other energies. And melge is a blend of merge and meld. So melge. So even that word in itself shows what my energy can do. It can kind of melge. And so in the past, I've been able to melge with certain non-physical guides, as an example. For those of you that used to receive my daily email emits, when I used to do them a couple of years ago, I would often be melging with the energies that I was writing with. In relation to domain, when we were doing the Domain Leaders program and while I was writing this book, I actually energetically, remember this is energetic, when you're developing your energetic side, I energetically melged with Africa, which was a big undertaking. You know, I say this, but obviously if you think about all of the energetic development I did leading up to that to enable my energy to do that, and that's what was happening. And so I don't say, I know, what I'll do today is I'll meld with Africa. That's not how it works. Your energy just kind of does it because it knows that that's what your energy is ready for and that it's something that you're wanting, even if it's you haven't consciously realised it. And then often you'll feel something happening and you're connected and you'll find out that something amazing is happening. But what's happened this week is I've actually been melging with Salí, and that is clearly quite a big thing to say if I think about the enormity of like the energetic undertaking of that. But the thing is, it gets rippled out to everybody in the domain community, which is really beautiful. And so there's a real deepening that's going on, which is Salí's saying it's just kind of connecting to more and more possibilities for us humans and what we want to use domain for on earth, whether it's ourselves in our day-to-day lives, whether it's, you know, nature, animals, humans, whatever it is. But it's this kind of greater possibility and potential now also for truly seeing Salí, which is what we talk about in the book. So it's not literal dictionary definition seeing, it's like energetically knowing, feeling, experiencing, feeling really like hyper connected and interconnected and part of the incredible tapestry of earth. I mean, even those words don't really describe what seeing Salí actually is. It's a feeling. And I was speaking to someone yesterday, I can't actually remember who it is. They'll have to forgive me, whoever it was, because if they're listening to this at any point, they'll be like, that was me, we were talking about this. It's like when you're working with domain, you see Earth in such a different way. Like, I used to love seeing landscapes and different, things when I was traveling. I used to travel all the time because I loved that. But I would see them, but almost I'd kind of see them, but like at a slightly disconnected level, even though I was still loving what I was seeing. Whereas when you truly see Salí, when you're working with domain, it's like you're all of it. I remember who it was now, actually. It was Louise, who's going to be coming on at 10:30. I was like, who was I speaking to yesterday? And so she was saying the same, she used to love looking at the moon, but now she sees it. And I can literally see the moon outside my window now. So there's a lot of deepening that's going on with Salí, just in constant kind of, progression in terms of what we all want to do with domain and how that over time is going to build. And so, although, melding is something that's quite specialised to me, there will be other things over your journeys with domain that you guys might do as well that are completely bespoke to your own energies. And this is what's really exciting. And this is why we say in the book, it's not about one person being better than another with domain. It's about everybody just being their own best within their own energies, because each person will be able to do different, wonderful, miraculous things. And it's so much fun and so wondrous. And likewise, Nelson's been around a lot recently. So there's definitely some interesting stuff occurring. And so if you want to, and you're, if you're quite well versed with working with domain and you want to, if you feel like you're getting anything around those things, feel free to share. The domain leaders, some of them know about this now, because what we do with the domain leaders is have like a bi-monthly Zoom call, which is really lovely. So they know about these developments from that chat yesterday, but also moving forwards, again, just to kind of show you how the setup that we've got here pieces together. Anyone that does anything through the School of Domain Energetics, even coming to the domain event, you will be invited to join the Pathway to Thrive Facebook group, which is almost like the spearhead Facebook group where all energies that are working with domain are going to continue gathering and doing things, whether people are just using domain in their own rights in their day-to-day, or whether people are using domain to do more kind of planetary things. That Pathway to Thrive group is going to be such like a kind of golden spearhead group of domain possibility for those actively working with domain. So that's really exciting as well. So, in the future, these kind of developments that happen, they'll kind of be shared into Pathway to Thrive as well. And those that are really kind of practice working with domain will be able to kind of get insight and things as well. So it becomes this kind of powerhouse in a really beautiful way, not a pushy way, but this powerhouse of maximum velocity energetics with domain, and such a beautiful thriving community there. So there's been a lot going on this week with Nelson Salí, which feels really exciting, and they're saying it's because the momentum is building, and that's because of all of you precious souls that are starting to dip your toes into domain, or some of you are running full pelt with it, whatever feels true to you. It's because people are now learning about it and reading it, reading the book and reading about it, or listening into things like this and understanding it, or literally taking what they're learning and using it and utilising it. So it's a very active time for domain's use on Earth at the minute in a very conscious way, because people are now starting to understand what is possible and what they have access to via domain, which is revolutionary. Totally pioneering. So it's so exciting. So we just kind of wanted to share that with you rather than kind of an evidence spotlight this week, although of course there's always evidence coming through. I've done more incredible stuff with domain energetics this week for my spiritual companion, and the change already in a few short days is amazing. But this was more about actually let's show some other kind of examples that domain may complement and enhance vivaciously, there's an interesting word, your physical human experience, because we're here to be physical, but domain can really just turn up all of the senses with it, and it's beautiful and stunning in that way. So we wanted to share that. And now what we're going to do, while we're just waiting for Louise to join us, which will be roughly in about the next 10 to 15 minutes, and she is going to be tuning in, I believe, from one of her walks that she does, and she'll tell you everything that she does when she comes live. But before we welcome Louise on, what we wanted to do was allow you the opportunity, no matter how little or very experienced you are with domain, just to connect in and just feel a guide come forward that's important to you with regards to domain, and that can really support you. So again, rather than thinking about guiding you, think about a guide that can just really support you. A bit like if you and I were working together, I would support you, okay? This is a bit like if you're creating a domain, this guide is there to support you. And this guide could be a guide that's here for now, or it could be a guide that comes back in the future, but it's an opportunity to meet a guide. Now, it could be a guide that you already know about in relation to domain. So for those that were doing the domain immersion experience this week, we did have a day with guides, and I was told I would get some experiences on that day as well. And actually the guide that came in was Salí. So it doesn't necessarily need to be new, but you might get a sense of meaning as to why they're coming in now as well. But for some of you, this will be the first time you've ever kind of tuned to a guide with specificity to domain, and that can be a really beautiful moment for you as well. So let's do this now, and all you need to do, some of you will want to close your eyes, some of you want to keep them open, whatever feels good. All you need to do is know that that guide is coming really close. So we don't need to do any energetic practices or anything like that. We don't need to protect ourselves or anything like that. Domain is so loving. There's nothing to be fearful of with non-physical. They're only loving. Where the kind of fear comes is from actually, we're just being asked to lovingly share, because I used to have some of this as well. It can be quite common. A fear about non-physical comes from low stored vibration and misinterpreting. Actually, non-physical is so loving, and they always will be with domain. So you can feel really safe that all you need to do is feel or know them or sense them coming near, depending on how you receive. Knowing is absolutely fine. You don't have to see or hear or anything like that. And I am going to close my eye because it's just how I always do it. So with that guide now, being close, getting an understanding of who they are. So I've got my guide, and it is someone that I have known of before, but I haven't actually done loads with, so that's really interesting. So for some of you, it might be a guide that you recognise. So often notorious guides, for example, guides that were famous or well known when they had physical life experiences. But of course, there's a whole multiverse and multiverses of non-physical guides out there that won't have had physical experiences on Earth. So you could receive a guide and you don't actually quite know where to place them, but they might feel multiversal. It could also be an ancestral guide, I'm being told as well. So it could be any of the above. And actually that's really beautiful for some of you, perhaps. Say family members that have transitioned back into non-physical, they could very much be around for you for domain as well, and that's beautiful. So just trust whatever you're getting, and feel free to share below if you want to, whether you're watching live or on replay, and we can confirm for you if you'd like us to. You might not want to, that's fine as well. And if you're getting a knowing of that guide coming through and who they are, or you're getting an essence or sense of kind of what kind of guide they are, animal guides are possible as well. I'm just being asked to share. If you want to take it a bit further, see if you can get a knowing as to what they're actually here for. I'm actually not concentrating fully right now because I'm just thinking, have I set it up correctly for Louise to come on if she's trying to come on? Oh no, I have said it out correctly. Right, I'll carry on. It's really interesting. If you're slightly distracted, it makes it hard to receive. So, right. So I'm being guided to share. Mine's Albert Einstein. And I've known he's been around, but I've never done really anything closely with him. So I'm just going to see if I'm getting a sense of what he's coming in for in relation to domain. So I'm getting a sense for Albert, his energy is kind of, it's close by, kind of sort of on the periphery of the core 4 domain guides, which obviously domain, Salí, Nelson and God. He's kind of on the periphery of those, so he's still close rather than really far out, because obviously there's trillions of different guides. But it still isn't for right now. He's telling me it's still not for right now for whatever we do together with domain. It's still not for right now, but he's there and he's kind of close by. So that's really interesting, because there's other stuff with other guys I'm going to be doing first, is what he's saying, and it's about right time. And that's such an important word to remember with non-physical, because I used to get very impatient, even with energetics, okay? Being like, why can't I do that yet? Or why don't I know this yet? Or why not now? And it's always about right timing. It's for when our energies are ready. And so that's definitely one of the most wonderful things that I've learned over the last few years working with non-physical energy and developing my energetic and non-physical side, is it's always about right time. You don't need to rush or push. I don't need to push on this point with Albert. I just know, okay, cool, there's something that's going to come. Whenever that is, I don't know when that is. And that's such a nice place to be, knowing that new is going to come. What a wonderful way to live. It never gets boring. You never kind of reach that glass ceiling, which is something that we often say with relation to domain. It removes it entirely, because there's always endless new with domain. So we'd love to know who you got, if you got a sense of who it might have been. If you got a sense of why they were coming forwards, you know, please feel free to share if you want to. There's no pressure. You don't have to. But if you'd like to, do feel free to share, and we'll be able to confirm for you and give you a bit more insight around that as well. So I can see a couple of you watching at the moment. So again, I'm not going to put you on the spot, but if you want to share, feel free to go for it. So it can be really beautiful. But yeah, it's quite an interesting point today, is as our energies are now just advancing so much, don't necessarily think of them as here to lead you. They're here kind of as friends to support you. And that's a very different notion, actually. And that feels really good. So it's like you've got the kind of physical community here on Earth doing amazing things with domain, and we've got the support of an amazing non-physical community as well. And I just love it, because again, it just adds to the diversity, makes the community feel even more magical and bigger. You know, why would we not embrace the non-physical alongside the physical as well when we're working with domain energetics? Okay, so Karishma saying, George Michael, sustainable income is what he wants to help with. So unexpected. Awesome. And so for you, Karishma, you're someone, and I know you won't mind me saying this, no, I'm being told it's fine, you are loving domain, you're literally running with it. And so for you, that will occur if and when it's right time. So it's really quite actually awesome that you're able to share that, because sometimes we get these things and we can feel a bit like, when am I going to do that? How is that going to fit in with everything else that I'm doing? So for you, you'll know if and when it's right time with that. But how beautiful. And he is a guide that is referenced in the Domain Energetics book when we're talking about Nelson and other guys as well. So he is, and actually also is Albert. So it's wonderful that he's come through in that way. And that's the thing, it can be so unexpected, can't it? You can just be like, oh, what are you doing here? And okay, I didn't know that was going to be coming. So that's something just to feel really just happy about, and you know that that will occur at right time for you. I'm still seeing if I'm getting any, I'm literally, Albert's not telling me. He's saying, like in such a lovely way, I can kind of see in my mind's eye him smiling. He's saying, you've got enough going on right now. Focus on those things, but just know I'm right here, because I always knew he would come in at some point in relation to domain, even a few years ago when I first started receiving around domain. But I guess it's just a case of right time when he's really going to step forward. So who knows what that will be, but it feels very magical. So yeah, the world of guys with domain can be really beautiful. And actually, speaking of which, our first workshop through the School of Domain Energetics that's going to be happening in January is around domain guides. And again, that's for all, whether you're really experienced with domain or whether you're brand new. And so just to talk a little bit about what the workshops are and how they're different to other things that we offer through the school. The workshops are always about 2 hours long. They're going to be held in like a live group format where you can interact with myself and the domain team. And you'll get to practice things energetically with us and really propel your energetic side in different areas. So as an example for this first workshop in January, it will be with the World of Domain Guides. Plus you'll be given some exercises to then go away and do afterwards as well, that will always be kind of anchored into the School of Domain Energetics, so they're always going to be energetically amplified and supported for you. And so our workshops are going to be really magical in that way. They're going to run it every other month because there's a lot going on in the school, because also on alternate by months we're going to be running domain discovery evenings as well, which are going to be these magical kind of evenings where it's a bit like an audience with domain, and you'll get to ask questions and we'll receive answers, and they'll be very magical with lots of multiversal twists and turns is what I'm being told. But the workshops are going to run bi-monthly, and our first one in January is going to be around guides. So actually that's quite timely. I didn't actually consciously make that connection when I was like collating what to talk about today, but that's coming up in January as well, and the information's on the website sarahmorganglobal.com. So good. So just waiting now for the gorgeous Louise. So what can I tell you a little bit about her as we're waiting for her to come on and readying for her entrance? So Louise is known as the Nature Connector, and she'll talk more about herself when she comes on as well, of course. But she has a real love for nature. Her website is the Nature Connector, and she'll talk about that when she's live as well. And I think for her, from what we were chatting about yesterday, domain has really just opened up so much beauty for her. She knew straight away she wanted to be a domain leader, so her energy was immediately feeling the pull to domain, and she's just wonderful, and as are all of our domain leaders. But it's really lovely that Louise is going to be our first guest today. And so if you're watching this live again or on replay and you have any questions that you want to ask Louise, please feel free to write them down, because even after the live of this, you know, she'll be able to see any comments and questions that are coming through. And if you have any questions for her, you can just let her know as well. So what else do I want to say? You can tell I haven't done guest interviews for quite a while, because I'm like, right, I've like got ready a bit too early, because obviously she's just finishing one of her walks. What else do we want to say about domain? Or does anyone have any questions? Karishma, darling, do you have any questions whilst you're watching? Oh, she's here. Okay, saved by the bell. Right, let me bring the gorgeous Louise on. I've not done this for a couple of years, so let's hope this will go smoothly. So, approve. Is this going to work? Send invitation. Right, hope this works, guys. You see, you don't need to be slick with technology. Just hope it all works. Otherwise, I'll have to do a retake. Right, it's saying it's adding Louise, so let's just give it a second. The guest declined the invitation. Okay. Hi, Rita, darling. How are you? Right, let me just see. We're just trying to get Louise on because she's our guest today. And we seem to have a bit of a situ occurring. So bear with us, guys, while we're just cracking the technical side of this. It means that when any other domain leaders or any others in the domain community come on in the future, we would have got this bit nailed by now. It's really interesting. Why is that not working? Let's try that. If not, we'll do it again maybe next week. See if she's is working. I don't think it's working. How bizarre. Bear with everybody. It's be fun if you're watching the replay. It's, oh, did that do something? It didn't say declined. Right, let me try again. Okay, I'm gonna just give her a moment, because I think she's logged off and logging on again. Right, bear with everybody. Oh no, she's back again. Let's see. Right, go. Thanks for the love and support, Rita. I don't think it's going to work. Okay, maybe it's it's not meant to be today, in which case it's fine. This is real physical human living. Sometimes these curveballs occur. So maybe it's not meant to be today. I think. Okay, Louise is saying it's being odd. It's being strange, isn't it? No worries, Lou. If it doesn't work today, we will do it on another episode. Sometimes these technical things happen, and maybe it's not meant to be today. So I think if it doesn't work now, Lou, let's leave it and we can just do it another time. I'm trying again. Yeah, it's saying it's adding you. I can keep seeing adding flashing up. And now there's another notification. Let me just see. It's telling me to turn my phone. Okay. Have you got your phone locked? Have you got the screen locked, maybe? No worries. It's all good. No need to rush. Is the screen maybe rotationally locked? That's the only other thing I can think. Okay. No. Okay. And it's not telling you to do it the other way around. It's just telling you to do it face. That's strange, isn't it? Do you want to? This is such a technical thing that I always try and do, and I don't know if it really helps. Do you want to try logging off and logging on again? Like leaving the broadcast and coming back on again? Maybe try that. And then if it doesn't work, guys, we'll have Louise on another time. It's no worries. It's no biggie. Obviously, it would have been lovely to see you, but if it doesn't work today, it doesn't work today. So bear with us a couple more minutes, guys, and if not, we'll kind of bring this episode to a close and kind of retry this again in a week or two's time. So bear with. Okay, it is locked. Oh, it is locked. How strange. Right. Okay, I think we might have to. Okay, guys, I think let's leave it for the moment because I don't think it's going to work today. And we will come back to you on another occasion with Louise. Thank you for bearing with us, those of you that have tried. Yes, we'll come back again another time. So thank you, Louise, for trying, but obviously it's just being a bit fiddly for some reason. So I think let's park it here for the moment. Although, have you just logged back on again? I think you might have done. Just give it one last try. No, okay, there's some kind of issue going on, so we'll leave it today. But thank you for being here and watching this episode. Don't worry, Louise, honestly, it's absolutely fine. Well, there's obviously just something strange going on, so it's all good. We'll do it another time. But thank you for watching today. And so just to summarise, today we've spoken about the domain event, we've spoken a little bit about Nelson and Salí, and we've spoken about work, understanding a key domain guide of yours. And just keep enjoying everything that you're doing with domain. Obviously, we've got our weekly read-alongs of the book as well, which we're doing here. Bye, Rita, darling. Have a lovely weekend also. So we're doing these on a Wednesday as well. So there's lots going on, lots of goodness. Just keep enjoying. Any questions at any point, you can just let us know. If you've got any questions about anything that we're offering, you can book a free exploration call with myself as well. There's just tons in place now to support all of you in various different ways, whether it's just through these video content pieces, whether it's through the book, whether it's through the School of Domain Energetics. There's tons here now to support you as you're just developing your own journeys with domains. So keep enjoying. We love you so much. We'll have Louise on again once we can kind of crack what's going on with the technology. But in the meantime, have a wonderful week, have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you again for the next episode next week. We love you. Mwah.